Hello everyone and welcome back to Conan Exiles in the Age of War. This is chapter 2 and in this video I've got a fun little build to show off to you which involves a few bits and pieces from player character side of things, but also a few bits and pieces from the follower side of things to make this a fun build, and I'm quite proud of it and I'm quite amazed at how it works, and I hope that you will also find it interesting and that you'll consider maybe setting this build up and giving it a try for yourself. Then you can let me know whether you agree or whether you think it's terrible or whatever you think about it. Let me know in the comments down below. So let's jump into the build right now. Okay, so as I say, this is a single follower strength build. I am not expecting to strength as such because this is more reliant on giving the follower as much boost and damage as we can. So for our armor, if we go into my character sheet, as you can see there, you can see our armor value, and it is heavy armor, and it is the Hyperanian Raider, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Do forgive me if I'm not, but as you can see, it's the head, the chest, the hands, legs and the feet, which give us bonuses to follower damage in each piece and also concussive damage, but we're not bothered about the concussive damage with this build. We're more focused on the follower side of things, and that will be kind of highlighted a little bit more as we progress through the build. You'll see why this particular set is helping out. If we go to my attributes, this is my follower build, so we're using 20 in vitality with fast healer and glutton for punishment. I'm going to skip down to grit, and we're in the first perk of grit, which gives us the tenacity, so we get faster stamina regeneration, and then we've just gone up to the next perk, so we're running the 15 to give us a bit extra stamina. Now I could have gone with a full 20 in here, but there's only steel thewed that's really usable, but decided that's not really appropriate with this build, so we've gone for 5 in expertise, just for the reduction in hunger and thirst and also the bit extra carrying capacity. And then we are full 20 in authority with healthy diet and then well trained, which the reason why we're using the well trained is if we go to her stats here, as you can see there, this shows you her setup, and I'll explain why we're using well trained in just a second. These are some perks that she got. You don't have to use these exact perks. What you could try and do is, ideally you want to try and get 3 perks that will boost up their health as much as you can. Although it looks quite low at the minute, you'll be surprised it does actually go up quite decent once she starts following me. Because when you have the well-trained perk, any follower that is a single follower following you will get a plus 20 in all their stats. So you can kind of re-roll these perks if you don't like the ones they got when they level up. But if you can get ideally a follower like this, it doesn't have to be the Cannibal Brute, even though this is a Cannibal Brute, and it can be the male version obviously as well. This would possibly work with any other follower. However, with a lot of testing, it seems to be the Cannibal Brute seems to be the best one, purely for the damage output. And as you can see there, she's currently getting a plus 7 to her vitality and her strength, because she's currently got the Exquisite Stew for a heal. And you can see what she got stat wise there. She got a plus 15 to vitality, a plus 10 to her armor and a plus 10 to strength. And as you can see, her base strength weapon bonus there is 66, so that's her stats just as she is now. If we take a look at her armor, she's in my almost regular setup that I used to use, but there is a slight change to this build now. So she's wearing the Redeemed Legion helmet for the strength weapon bonus and the good armor. Still the Void Force Dragon chest for the good armor and the strength weapon boost again. We're still using the Godbreaker grips for the armor value and also the boost to strength. But this is where the change now kind of comes in. If you own the DLC, which I can't just remember which one it is off the top of my head, so I'll pop it on the screen in the video. you want to try out the Pictish Warchief leggings, and then the Pictish Warchief boots, I'm going to call them. So they are the the feet and the legs from the heavy version of the Pictish set. So it's the Pictish Warchief, which gives a +5 in the strength in both. Plus, as you can see, they're a really good high armor value. So that's what she's wearing, whereas before we used to use the Champion's leggings and Hyperborean boots. But this build seems to do really good now. So now if I tell her to follow me, as we can see, she just looks like she's lost a huge chunk of health, but she's actually healing up. Because if we now take a look at her health, she's gone from just over 2k that she had to just over 4,000. And also her strength weapon bonus has now jumped up to 82%. So a really good percentage there, and she's going to hit pretty hard already. However, if we take a piece of the cooked catfish, you can give them a piece of this. You could also give them a piece of, not going to use that just yet while she's healing actually, but you could also give them the cooked pork or the salted pork, which obviously gives them 15% just the same. And also either the Grey Lotus potion, the Black Lotus potion, or the Elixir of Might. Give them one of those, so we can tell her to take that. If we take a look at her stat sheet once again, we can now see there that she's now up to a strength weapon bonus of 97, and she's now nice and fully healed up. So if we go back to our fish again, like I say, you can use the salted pork, get her to eat that. And then now, as you can see, look at that, 112. That is some pretty decent, ridiculous damage. And if we take a look at her weapon, for this particular build, she is using Momentum, which is a one-handed mace, with the master weapon fitting on there. You could use any particular mace at first until you can get this one, or you could use Notice if you can get that from the first boss in the Warmaker Sanctuary, but we're using Momentum. So she's now following, as I say. What we'll do is we'll head just outside my base here. So we've got the Scorpion boss, and we'll see how she goes up against the Scorpion boss. Okay, so as you can see, the Scorpion is just up there on the hill. You can just see it just above the sand there, and it's this particular one that we're taking on that's just here, just next to the silver mine. So let's get up here and send Holly in and see how she goes on. Especially now in this new chapter, things could be a little bit different, but let's just see how she does. Already down to half health and dead. And we also completed the challenge. So that must have taken, what, less than 5 seconds, probably 3 seconds even. Absolutely destroyed that guy. But as we can now see, also with the changes, it also now drops a bow, which is it's only a hardened steel bow, but that is a decent one, so it's not to be sniffed at. So some decent little bits of loot there, because as you all now know, the legendary chests are now inside dungeons. But what you also want to do, I'm not going to do it now, but also don't forget to chop them up to get your key, because they will still drop a skeleton key. And especially if you're then going to head over to Clael's Stronghold and run that dungeon, you're going to need plenty of skeleton keys in there. So that is the Scorpion. Okay, so that was the Scorpion. We've now come back here to the side of Seppa Maru, and as you can see behind me there, you've got the big old Rhino. Let's see how she does against an enemy with slightly thicker armour. And the Rhino's just spotted us, so we'll send her in. Five hits and it's already down a lot of health. No problem whatsoever. Now that one didn't really put up much of a fight, so as we can see, she took no damage. But once again, if you also check this boss's inventory now, as you can see, these will drop things as well. hardened steel punching daggers, so just be wary of the things that they can now drop, and that's another skeleton key option. And of course it's pretty much a one shot on the skeletons. And even though this has all been done on my server, the settings were all set to official PvE levels for this testing, so there's no extreme boost or anything going on. This is purely our vanilla settings, just as the official servers are. Well, alright then guys, that is the video in a nutshell. Like I said, this is a single follower build with one follower, and this is the cannibal brute that we've used, which is one that I would recommend for using if you want this build to potentially be as good. Just bear in mind with the perks that you roll, it may mean that their damage numbers are a bit less than 112 with the buffs, but if you kind of play around with the elixir of rebirth a few times, if you're prepared to do that, see if you can get something, you may even be able to roll their stats and get it even higher. But let me know in the comments down below if you are able to do so. That would be good to know. Also let me know down below what you think. Give it a try, like I say, and let me know your thoughts and your opinions on it. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss our next content that's coming out in chapter 2. Lots more still to come, including other dungeon runs and also some more live streams coming up on a Friday, 7 PM UK time. And just one more thing before we go, for those who are interested, the outfits are illusioned that me and the follower are wearing, and these are the Pictish Wizard. So if you own that set, that is the appearance that we're both using in this video. Even though we're wearing two completely different sets, they are the Pictish Wizard. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and until I see you guys in the next video, have fun with the build, and from me, it's bye bye for now.